water, Dad? Dad?
Huh?
Did you want any water?
No. I didn't get that.
Did you want any water?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I'm fine.
All right. So let's start with your name and date of birth.
My name is Bernardo Vasquez Lugo. Date of birth is February 17th, 1925.
All right. And which branch of the service were you in?
I was in the U.S. Army Air Force, and then I was in the U.S. Army.
Okay. And
In those days, I was a U.S. Army at the Air Force. Then the Air Force separated from the Army, so they became a U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force.
Got it. And what unit or division were you in?
I was in the 35th, what is it? 24th Infantry, 35th Battalion, 134th Regiment, like that.
Right. And what rank did you attain?
Oh, yeah, I was in the 35th Battalion, 134th Regiment, 24th Infantry,
Okay. And what rank did you obtain?
Sergeant.
Sergeant. And did you receive any medals or commendations?
No, just a normal good conduct, theater operations, and I received some from the Filipino Army that after we came back from combat, I went to, I volunteered to go help the Filipino guerrillas.
Mm-hmm.
And the Philippine general wanted to talk to me, and he talked to Larry and met him, and he sent me 2 medals. Got the medals there buried in the box.
Oh.
This is from the Filipino.
Oh, nice.
Very young.
The other medals, Dad.
Wow.
And those are the letters that it came with the 3,
Oh, on the wall there.
yeah. It came with those medals.
Wow.
But I wanted to find out whether I don't think I received any recognition for being in the Filipino guerrillas
Mm-hmm.
from the United States government. So I was going to check that out with Governor Ed Rodwell. He was going to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
But so far he hasn't returned any information. Because even after the war ended, I was with the Filipino guerrillas. I was there about a month after the war ended, still in combat.
Still fighting.
Still in combat. I thought maybe my army outfit had forgotten about me, but then they sent me a letter, come back, we're going to go to Japan.
Yeah.
So I went to Japan with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was a radio operator then. And that was my short story about that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your childhood a little bit. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Arizona, Glendale, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
A little sleepy town. Not much there, but just growing up.
And what was your family life like? Did you have brothers and sisters?
I had 4 brothers and 5 sisters,
Mm-hmm.
mom and dad. Yeah. They were a nice family, a good family.
Yeah. And where do you fall in line?
I was the oldest of the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 sisters above me,
So you're a third child.
third.
Do you guys have to share a lot? You guys have
Oh,
to share
yeah.
everything?
Yeah, we had to share, well, almost everything.
Yeah.
My dad had a small grocery store, and and he was always selling something, making his money somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And we were growing up, and then I grew up enough to go help him work, but I didn't like the work. They was paying us um, 2 hours for 25 cents. Um, um, Watering the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, Brother-in-law he was a rancher, and he bought this land. It was nothing but desert,
Mm-hmm.
so he was going to plant alfalfa in it and cotton and stuff like that. So we had to water the desert, so we had to do that, and it was too much work. Water went all over the place, and
Yeah.
so I told my mom. Then another lady then asked me to come visit her, and because I was the only guy in town that I had that would drive. We had a pickup, and I would drive around town.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought I was a chauffeur or something. So she asked me to bring her to California in a car that her boyfriend left her.
Mm-hmm.
Find somebody who can drive the car and come to California. And so I did that. I left my dad over there. So
How old were you?
17.
17. Now, what types of things did you do for fun growing up? Did you play sports?
Huh?
Did you play sports growing up? What did you do for fun?
Just ride the bicycle and go up in the desert and chase rattlesnakes and rabbits. That's about it. Just riding the bikes.
Yeah.
When I was almost teenager.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you close with your brothers and sisters? Did you
Oh
guys
yeah,
hang out a lot?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are little differences, between brothers, and there's always some kind of competition and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the. Of the beans.
Yeah. And who was your biggest influence growing up? Did you have somebody that
Nah, there was not much of an influence. I had two older, my sisters were older than I was, so they couldn't influence me too much. And just the older guys in town, who went up ahead of us, coming to California, going boxcars, driving the box, getting on the boxcars and coming to California.
Mm-hmm.
There was the one that got me excited about California.
So when you got to California at 17, did you ever go back to Arizona?
I used to go in the wintertime. I used to go. I would work here in California, then go back home in the wintertime. There wasn't too much work here in California during the wintertime. I was picking grapes and peaches, apricots, that kind of stuff, walnuts.
So were you not in school anymore at this point?
No, I when I graduated from grammar school, I bought books. I bought these books for high school from this guy. And then when I went to the high school, the principal there at high school told me the books were stolen. And I got pissed. I didn't steal no books, I bought them. He said, well, they're stolen books. So I said, well, to heck with you. So I didn't go to high school.
That was it. That was it.
That was it. That was it. But later on, when I got married, I went to school, got my GED.
Mm-hmm.
I went through some more English and math and that kind of stuff. But I was already settled down here in Fullerton,
Mm-hmm.
going to school.
So instead of going to high school, you started working?
Yeah. Started working in the fields
Mm-hmm.
in California. I used to go to Arvin and start uh, picking apricots and go up Bakersfield and Fresno, follow the crops.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up in Oakland picking walnuts.
Mm-hmm.
That was then we headed back home.
Um, and you said you were getting paid 50 cents for every 2 hours of work at this point?
25 cents. In Arizona, it was 2 hours for 25 cents. Digging. Trying to keep the water in the canals,
Yeah.
you know. So you water the desert and water goes all over the place, you know.
Yeah.
A little gophers and stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I hated to leave my dad, but it was too much for me. I was too young, 17, 16.
Now you're of Mexican descent.
Yeah.
Were your parents born in Mexico or were they
My
born
dad
here?
and my mom were born in Mexico.
Which part?
My mom was from Sonora, and my dad was from Sinaloa, the neighboring states.
Do you know how they met?
No,
No.
no. I think they met here in the States.
Do you know? Okay, so um, do you know what year they met?
No,
No.
no, I don't recall.
Okay. Okay, so once you got to California, you were 17 years old, and that's when you started working, picking the apricots, and
Hmm.
okay. And how long did that last for?
Well, that's the summer, just the summer. It lasted about 3 years, 3 years to coming over, and then the work came by, and now we start working in. I started working with the Standard Royal as a longshoreman,
Longshoreman. Mm-hmm.
longshoreman, loading ships with gasoline,
Mm-hmm.
with big, put 50-gallon drums of gas, oil. I used to,
And what year was this?
and that was in 1939, 1940,
1940. Okay.
39, 1940, 41, those years.
And how long did you work as a longshoreman for?
I worked with them 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
2 years. Then I started, then when did I do that? 2 years. Then I started working in the canneries, canning in the canneries,
What were you canning?
peaches and apricots and stuff like that,
Yeah.
tomatoes. That was the job that we could get.
And what was your job? Were you guys on an assembly line?
No, I was running a labeling machine
Okay.
where they put labels on the cans,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went into forklift driver, warehouseman,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
And after that, what did you do? After that job?
After that job, I went into the service and came out. Then I became a technical writer.
Um, were you drafted or did you enlist?
Drafted
And what year was this?
43, 1943.
43. Okay. So,
I wanted to volunteer, but my mom said no way.
yeah, she wouldn't allow it.
She wouldn't allow that.
So, do you remember going back a few years to when the attack on Pearl Harbor happened? Do you remember where you were? Do you remember
Yeah.
that day?
Yeah, I was working in I was a Bonaparte, working for Hughes Aircraft Company, building electronic equipment, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was a technician then, and I heard the news, and well, I guess we're going to be at war. And so after that, uh, went to the Army. Army,
Uh,
43.
and you told your mom that you wanted to volunteer, and she said no. Did any of your brothers?
No, they, well, my other boy wanted to volunteer. I don't know if he volunteered or not, but I don't think he was allowed. My smaller brother.
Mm-hmm.
But we were three brothers in the service. Four brothers in the service.
Mm-hmm. So when you were drafted, you found out you were drafted. How did you feel? What was your thoughts when you found that out?
Well, thing to do. Just normal. It's just like a normal feeling. Your country's at war. You gotta serve.
Yeah.
My dad took me to Mexico. He said, I'm gonna live here in Mexico, and you go to college here, and then I'll give you money every month. So what for? I don't want to go to college. I want to go to service.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't want to go to service. You don't want to get killed. Yeah, but my country needs me, Dad. I can't just escape. And
Yeah.
no. So I told him, no way. I'm not going to stay in Mexico. So I came back and I got into the service. Got drafted.
So where'd you do your basic training? Where'd they send you?
What?
Where did they send you after you were drafted? Where did you do your?
Oh, I
your basic?
came down to L.A. To Fort MacArthur, where they got the soldiers in, and then I was sent to Denver, Colorado. I was supposed to go into a pilot training in Denver, Bucket Field, but I didn't have no high school, no school, so I couldn't pass any tests.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I had qualified to become in the Air Force,
Mm-hmm.
Army Air Force, and I was going for pilot training. But when I got to Buckley, they gave me a test, and I didn't have no trig or no algebra, no nothing like that. So I told them, give me a chance, and I'll learn it. Can't give you a chance, you ain't got time.
Yeah.
So they sent me to Florida for gunnery school. I was going to be a gunner. And B-17s. But I had a guy that called me chief. I said, I'm not chief, I'm not Indian,
Yeah.
In Arizona, they call chiefs Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm Mexican, I'm not chief, I'm not Indian. So we got into a fight, and they kicked me out of the gunnery school. I went to a radio school, and then I became a radio operator. And when in Germany, when they had that Bastogne problem, the Americans were surrendered by Germans.
Mm-hmm.
They took us out of radio school to go to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And but by the time we got all together as a group, the Americans took the share of the Germans,
Mm.
and they escaped, from Bastogne. They won that battle. So I said, well, what are you going to do, you guys? We may need you in the Pacific. So they shipped us to the Pacific. All with winter clothes and everything. There we all go to, I went to a little island, Ulithi Atoll, I think it was Ulithi Atoll. It was hot. And we all, nothing but German, woolen clothes, we're ready to go to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
There was snowing up there. So then they shipped us, following day, we shipped us to Philippines, hotter there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to pile up all the winter clothes and put diesel on it and burn them. Then next day we got our regular fatigues, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Summer clothes.
Mm-hmm. A little more comfortable than
Oh,
wool,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, well, that was another wise guy there. Okay, you guys, you're gonna sleep over here. Make your bunk here, you know. And the guy knew that there was a lowland, you know, and over there it rains almost every night.
Mm-hmm.
So that night it rained, and we all got flooded, got all wet, sleeping.
He set you guys up.
Yeah, it was a good welcome, you know.
Yeah.
And next day we hollered at him and cussed him out. And so I'm not a weatherman, you know. I didn't know it was gonna rain. I know, but so after that we got together and we were sent to those distribution and replacement centers
Mm-hmm.
where you get to go where you wanna. They put you where you're gonna go to. So they sent me to Mindanao, to where they were fighting the Japs over there. So went to Mindanao, combat. And then we were relieved from combat to go and get ready to invade Japan. So I was, the guy that I was under, he went home. He had enough points to go home. So I was left in charge of the radio operators there in my company, headquarters company. And we were just training, you know, just to go invade Japan. And Captain called me one time. He asked for a volunteer from my group. And I asked him what for. I said, well, they need some radio operator up in the hills, the Filipino guerrillas. So I said, well, he said, get your men together and ask for volunteers. No, I'm not. I'm going to go. He said, you can't go. What do you mean I can't go? You want to volunteer, don't you? Yeah, well. Then he called the lieutenant. The lieutenant said, Lugo wants to go with the Filipino guerrillas. So well, let him go. He wants to go, let him go. But the captain was a little nerdy guy. He had spent all his time in New York, up and down the skyscrapers.
Mm-hmm.
He was in charge of the artillery outfit up there. He said, oh, just party after party. He said, but I'll make it up to you guys. I'll make it up to you guys. He was just a nerdy captain, and we got after our captain was relieved.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just a nerd.
Now, when you when you went to Mindanao, how long were you there for?
We were there about almost a year, about a year. A year. We were, no, it was about, yeah, almost a year in Mindanao.
Can you talk a little bit about your experience there? And
Well, when we got there, when we got all our clothes and we got issued our arms, they gave me a 45 and a carbine and a radio. Then another guy to carry the radio and the generator. They gave him bazooka. So we were ready to go to war. So next day, they said, well, tonight, you guys take a good rest and have a good time, and tomorrow you're going to have your last breakfast. You're going to go to war. You're going to go up to the hills. So next day, they sent us up to the jungles to where the Japanese were at. And we were here on the high ground, and then the river, and the Japanese were on the other side. That was about That must have been about 4 or 5 blocks distance between us and the Japanese. So we see him every morning and saluted him, wave at him. Started shooting, they would shoot us back at us. But we never got hurt. Well, one of the guys got killed. One of my buddies got killed the next day. Guy came that went with me. He got killed next day. There was a big. Remember that day? I got. I don't know. It wasn't. It wasn't. I wasn't afraid. I didn't feel any. I didn't feel scared over there. But I went to take a smoke, and I went to a long tree away from the bivouac where we were camping. And I was sitting down in a tree smoking my cigarette, then I looked over the tree, and there was this guy, dead, my buddy. And I felt so weird, I just couldn't control myself. But it just, so well, I guess it's life in the jungle. But no, he was a good buddy of mine. He got killed. But then after that, I composed myself and went into talked to the lieutenant. Yeah, he got killed this morning. They had gone on patrol, and he got killed. But it was only a guy that I remember. Friends of mine that were killed.
Yeah.
Another good buddy that I had, he went into the Air Force. I went to the Army. And he was also shipped to South Pacific, and he was shot down by the Japs on the plane. That was two buddies that I lost that I liked a lot.
So when during that year span, what was your daily routine like? Did you guys had a camp that you would
Yeah, we were
go back to, or
bivouac and some. We had. We would communicate with the other groups and where they were at, and then we would communicate with the Navy to send us some shots over. That was our routine. We had to communicate with the guys that were on patrol, and and that's for as the Navy to shoot at some cannon up to where we were at, Send us one shot to test, if they were too far or too low down to correct it. Then we just duck and let the bullets come by, the missiles come by. But it was okay.
were you able to write home to your parents while you were overseas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just write letters and just write letters. And they'd be censored. Some would be censored. I would write my sister, Lucy, and she sent me some letters the other day. And not last year, she sent me some letters that she had from me. And some were censored, I don't know why they were censored, but censored.
Just gonna wait for the birds to.
Huh?
The birds keep trying to talk over you.
Oh.
Do that? Want to sit outside then? Outside? Sit outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice outside.
Oh, you're
Alright, we're back. So after you left Mindanao, where did you go? Here, I'll grab your pen.
Mindanao, and we went to Japan. Went to Japan. The war was over by then, so it was quite a sight going to what was the town? Shikoku, Japan. It was a sight being landing in Japan, and the people would hiss at us. That was a good thing. Hissing was good over in Japan. And but the weather present was all the armada was there in the bay, guns and big ships and battleships and airplanes coming by, and it was sight seeing the occupation of Japan. I felt real good.
Okay, so your time in Mindanao then, were you that was when you were with the Filipino guerrillas, or was that when you were fighting with the U.S.?
Yeah, I was with we were fighting with the U.S. on my American outfit,
Okay.
and then after that, when we came back from combat to go to Japan, to invade Japan, the captain asked me for a volunteer to go help the guerrillas.
Mm-hmm.
And the guerrilla was just a bunch of guys, just no organization, no nothing.
Civilians.
But they were just killing Japs, fighting Japs.
So did you go alone, or were there other American soldiers that went as well?
There were 4 of us taken from one from each company, and I we drew straws to who's gonna go where. 2 stayed behind company, and 2 went to combat, to the outfits, to the guerrillas groups. So I got to go to the guerrilla group, combat. The Japanese would come by, shoot us up, but I had a little guy that he was about this tall, Filipino guy.
Mm-hmm.
My helper, my supposed to defend me all the time.
Bodyguard.
Bodyguard. He was this tall, and his rifle was this tall. And he was loaded with grenades and bullets, and had a bolo knife, and he had a bayonet, and he had a gun too. I don't know what gun he was, but he was just loaded. I said, Luis, if somebody shoots you, you're gonna blow up the whole camp here. You got too much stuff on you. So I need it. But he would go into the jungle. He would escape from me. I said, next time you go, I'm gonna tell the leader, that you don't stay with me. See, he can't do nothing to you. You got more rank than he has. I don't care, but he's the leader. He's the leader of the group. I said, you were supposed to help me all the time with a radio.
Mm-hmm.
But he would come, and one time he came over and here, put something in my lap, a pair of Japanese ears. He wouldn't shoot. He'd just sneak behind the Jap and kill him, the guy, I said, don't bring me stuff anymore. I don't want no Japanese ears. Souvenirs.
Okay.
I had a good time with the Filipino guerrillas over there. They're good guys.
Who were you taking orders from, or who was directing you?
I would get my orders to the radio, from the company headquarters. I'll call it company headquarters for them, where the group commander of the guerrillas was. And he would direct. He had about 3 groups of guys, guerrillas fighting. And I would communicate with him and the other guys, the other group of guys. and that's where I got my instructions, what to do.
So were you still in uniform at this point, or?
I was in uniform. And the only clothes I had was GI's clothes, not a uniform. Well, your uniform, my what the hell call them? I don't know, forgot. But they were just everyday clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were not uniformed. They were just a bunch of guys, get together to kill Japs.
Now, where in the Philippines were you with these guys?
In the Philippines, we were. Here's a camp. Here's a water, and here we camped over here. And Mount Apo was here. Mount Apo, big mountain. And there's a river here. And there's a combat here. There's a combat area here.
Mm-hmm.
Then after combat, here's a Davao city. And there's a river going up this way. And we were down this way, little village there. And here was a farmland. That was headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, we went up this way with the jungle again, more jungle. And there was a road that going from here to the other north corner of the island. And the Japs were over here. They were shooting up the traffic there in the road. So we were over here. The bow, yeah. The funny thing, going up this river here, there's a lot of trees here. And when we went in a boat, it's a boat, millions of bats started flying out of the trees. Millions of bats. You couldn't, it got dark. And the guy that was driving the boat, he said, he told me to shoot at the bats.
Mm-hmm.
And he pointed at that 50 caliber he had there on the bow of the road, on the bow of the boat. So I understood. So I said, well, let's shoot at the bats. I told the guys because we were four GIs. So we started to shoot at the bats all the way here, through here. And we never shot one. We never killed one. The bats they see a bullet coming, they evade it.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't kill bats. And we had shooting I was shooting my 45, my carbine, and the 50 caliber, and the other guys were shooting something else too. And I never seen a bat fall.
Couldn't hit one of them.
Couldn't hit. It seemed like they have some kind of radar that they can evade, but millions of bats, just nothing.
That must have been a sight to see.
Huh?
It must have been a sight to see.
It is sight, it's a good experience. So when we got to this village, we went to the headquarters of the guerrillas. It was a nice big farm. And from there we took a truck up to the jungle again. And that's where we stayed there for a while until they called me back to camp.
Mm-hmm. Now,
it was about 10 miles. Another 10 miles, and maybe 10 miles up in the hills again.
now, how many guerrilla fighters would you say you were with? Was there?
Well, the group that I was in had about there was 1, There was about 15 guys.
15?
15 guys.
So not a lot of men.
No, 15. Just small groups of guerrillas. They got together, and there was somebody who organized the guerrillas to get them together, and dispatch them to wherever the Jets were at.
Yeah.
But they were just they were not disciplined. They were not disciplined. Just you get 4 or 5 guys, 6 guys, 7 guys, or whatever, and they go on kill Japanese. And they were the ones that they were sent to defend. My group was sent up to the jungles because up in the hillside, the Japs over here shooting down at the road.
And do you have an idea of how many of the enemy you guys were up against? I mean,
well, here enemy was about a company of Japanese. It's a river, and we were bivouacked over here in the highland, and we could see down, to them, and we were trying to go this way and cross the river, but they relieved us before we got to cross the river to go fight these guys here. It was about a company of Japanese here.
how many men would you say that is?
There were about maybe probably 100 here. And there were a lot of Japs here too. Over here the Japs would go up in the palm trees and shoot the guys here, and shoot us from the palm trees down. Snipers. So whenever we moved someplace, we always shot at the palm trees up there too, in case some Jap was up there. So we left a lot of palm trees just dead, cut off. So that was the most danger point, the palm trees over the jungle, And when we went, they see us and they shoot at us.
So you guys were heavily outnumbered then, just to be fair.
No, I don't think so. We had no, we weren't outnumbered. We were just chasing them, chasing the Japs. They were retreating. One time we were here with my bivouac here. There was a lot of jungle here. And I noticed between the jungle there was a trail. There's a road coming down this way to a point, and another river crossed here too. The road and a lot of jungle here. But in the bivouac here, I could see a little trail through the weeds. And one time I told this friend of mine, let's go down to the river and take a bath. I said, you're nuts. I said, the Japanese over there, they kill us, But I was kind of crazy those days too. One time I sneaked over and got into the trail and went down the river. And they had everything there. They had jewelry, they had diamonds, they had silverware, clothing. The Japanese had, they were retreating, they took all this stuff with them. And they left it there by the river. And I was checking it out. I said, well, I'm going to take some of this jewelry, I'm going to take some of this diamonds. Then I heard a noise in the jungle. I said, I better get my ass out of here, because Except they can like it if I'm still interested. So I just grabbed the only thing I could grab was the what's it called? I think my mind goes away every so often.
That's all right.
Hammock.
Mm.
A hammock was beautiful. It was, and there were all kinds of colors. You know, they had a mosquito net over the hammock.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed that and so I want to take this from a foxhole because here we lived in a foxholes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ran up the hill and just took the hammock.
Mm-hmm.
But I left a lot of good stuff there, a lot of jewelry, money, whatever, you know, riches, you know.
But the hammock was more valuable to you at that point.
Because it was within reach, and I just grabbed it.
Yeah.
And I'll come back for the rest
You
of
don't
the
want to
stuff.
leave empty-handed.
Yeah. So, but then I put the hammock on top of my foxhole,
Mm-hmm.
and the lieutenant came on. Where'd you get that from? Oh, I was going up the road, and I found it up by the roadside. Oh yeah. Well, I said, what do you want for it? Nothing. It's mine. I can get, it's good for mosquitoes. So then the captain came by and he wanted also to buy it. No, I said, no, I don't, not for sale. But I had a most nice foxhole, full of mud, but no mosquitoes. Just some of the experience that I had there that I was talking about. Oh, another guy, Lily, my wife has a nephew. He's got his ear, he put a dime in it and a quarter or something, made a hole in his ear. And when I seen him here, it scared the shit out of me. I felt fear. That fear, a fear of death. The only time I felt fear was in Philippines was in Korea. Oh, and here in camp, this Filipino guy came by and he wanted to work for us. He wanted to help us. I said, no. I said, we can hire you, and this is an army camp, no civilians.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but I want to help the Americanos. Well, I told him, you know what you can do? Bring me bananas, bring me fruits. Well, we just came back from combat and we don't have no fruit. So what he did, he would bring us bananas. It was Pedro. Was his name, and he would bring us pineapple, mango, fruit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So one time he didn't show up, and the guy wanted some fruit. I said, well, I don't know, he hasn't been here for a week now. So one day he wasn't doing too much, so I put on my guns, and he told me that on this side of the camp, there's a trail that goes, and there's a little town there's another road here. There will be a road. And he lives over here. But this is about a mile through a jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And going through there one time, I said, well, I'm going to go see Pedro and get some bananas. And I went by myself. And they asked me, where you going, Sergeant? Oh, well, guard duty. Oh, guard duty. Oh, okay. And I didn't tell my lieutenant that I was going to go after bananas. But in between this road, just a little jungle trail, I met this Moro. A Moro over there is a wild man. He doesn't talk Filipino. I don't know what language he talks. But he had rocks hanging from here, earlobes were down to here. Their earlobes are long. He had rocks. And his mouth was red, his eyes were red, and he's all weird, wild. And but he had a machete in his hand. And right away I got my 45 when I seen him coming. I got my 45 and pointed at him. And I just told him, don't move your right hand where you have your machete, or I'm going to burn you, I'm going to kill you with my 45. And so I guess to me, it felt like two warriors meeting
Yeah.
and, saluting each other, and,
Yeah.
but they want to fight. So he was going that way and I was going that way. So belly to belly, we crossed, and he had his machete here and I had my gun pointed at his heart. I said, if you make one wrong move, I'm going to pull my trigger. You're going to die. He didn't understand me,
But he understood you.
he understood me, okay. Because I waved my gun,
Yeah.
and so he just went that way and I went this way. Sayonara, goodbye. And then when I got to Pedro, he said, what are you doing here? Well, I came to see you. What are you doing here? As we told, I already said, I said, I came to see you. We need bananas. He said, no, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. There's wild people out there in the jungle that can kill you just to kill you, just to take whatever you have. Oh, by the way, I met one guy up there. He had his earlobes onto here, and his teeth were red. Yeah, well, he was under some kind of drug, berry, I think they call it. His mouth would turn red, and just a drug they use over there. Yeah, well, I met him there. I met one guy like that, and I said, well, man, yeah, it's a moto. I said, he could have killed you. Nah. I had my gun that is pointed at his heart. I would have. He said, your head would have been rolling on the dirt before you could pull your trigger. He said, so because the guy was ready, to.
Yeah, he was already
Ready to
back.
swing, Before I pull my trigger, my head would be rolling. Nah, yeah. That's the way they kill them. You're lucky, so you're fortunate. Well, so now I'm going to have to take you back. So that day we loaded up with bananas and fruits, and they took me back to camp. The camp, it was 1 mile, but it's about 2 miles from the army camp we had here. That was another thing and that's the only time that I felt fear while I was there. Not here, but here. Just this wild man. Because I met him so suddenly on the jungle. And I was just listening to the jungle insects and birds and just walking here. Then I met this wild man and it scared the shit out of me.
So when you saw your nephew, you felt like...
Yeah, when I see my nephew here, I felt the same fear. I said, why should I be afraid of my nephew? But then I seen his earlobes, he had this in the quarter or something, black stuff, and he still has it. Yeah, I felt that fear, same fear of dying. But God was always with me. I was always fortunate.
So how long were you with the guerrillas for?
I was with them. I was with them about 3 months.
3 months.
2 months, and after the war ended, still another month over there.
So what were you eating when you were with them? Were you eating their food or?
Sea rations.
Sea rations.
Sea rations. They had the guerrillas, they had a big pot about this wide, cast iron pot. And they had a fire on it all the time. And when they came from the patrols, they would bring veggies, fish, or whatever they could get. They would throw it into the pot. So it was always continuously cooking. But sometimes it smelled pretty good, sometimes it didn't smell good. So they invited me to eat with them. No, I have to eat this stuff here. I have to eat serrations and, the army chow. But I did tell my helper there, Luis, anytime you get over to the farm, they bring me some whatever fruit I can eat. He brought sweet potatoes, and eggplants, some other veggies, and I would cook them. And I would eat my own food. I didn't want to eat that mess the guys were eating there. Sometimes we threw fish in there, or rabbit or something.
Yeah.
But it was always cooking. The guys would come in from patrol, and they would just take their helmet off and eat out of the helmet. But it was it's just an experience. And they would tell me the stories why they were killing Japs, why they didn't like, The Japs would get a pregnant woman and with a bayonet, stick it in her belly, flip them over, bring it in, or kill, just to kill.
Yeah.
They would kill a lot of people there because they wouldn't see where the guys were at, the guerrillas. And the Japanese were mean. They were bastards. All the stories I heard from them.
So most of the guerrillas were fighting out of revenge or
Yeah, revenge, just to kill the Japs. Because the Japs were terrible. They were bad.
Yeah.
They were bad.
So going back to when you volunteered, what was it that made you volunteer yourself rather than somebody else?
When I volunteered with the guerrillas,
Yeah.
We were going through our training sessions there, and you're like talking from ground to ship, to unload people, to help the invasion. And we were training there for about 4 weeks. And we had gone through our training routines, and it's getting kind of boring in camp. Yeah. So I told the captain, I'll go. I'm going. He said, you can't go. You just came back from combat. What are you going to go back for? I don't know. I'm restless. I'm not safe here. I'm not, something. So I want to go help the guerrillas. So I went, volunteered for them. It was good. I enjoyed being with them, seeing how people defend their rights, their families. They weren't afraid to die. They just killed Japs.
Yeah.
Japanese.
And would you guys, would the U.S. help supply them with guns and
Yeah,
ammunition?
the U.S. Army would supply them with guns and ammo and whatever they needed.
Yeah.
Truck, to give them a truck, and a couple of jeeps. We had a jeep there. And every so often, the jeep would go to the company headquarters and bring back a load of bullets and stuff we needed. Food, C rations, K rations. The army would supplies. There were no Filipino army then.
They had all surrendered?
They were just being organized.
Yeah.
The Philippines didn't have an army at all. But it was organized after MacArthur came back. When he said, I shall retire, then they organized a Filipino army. The Filipino army, according to the general that I talked to, the Larry got me involved with, said, we don't have no history of anything that happened. We want to know the history of the guerrillas. And he wanted to talk to me, but he talked a little bit with me. But it's just history.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of glad that you came, so, because I noticed that a lot of us are dying out. Let me show you this. Some of my buddies here, kind of. Somebody made this sign and Conquerors of Corregidor, the camp that we were assigned to in Japan. Yeah, we got in our woolen clothes again, back somewhere. We had our combat badges. Yeah.
So you were still fighting with the guerrillas, you said, after the war had officially ended, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I got the message on the radio that Japan had surrendered and they were on some kind of ship. And that day, I told the leader of the group there, no more war. What do you mean no more war? You got to surrender. He said, well, this son of a bitch over here is still shooting at us. And that day, there were not a lot of, but a couple of airplanes came by with a lot of leaflets announcing the surrender to the Japanese to give up, But they didn't want to give up. They thought it was just a propaganda or something.
Yeah.
And that day, I remember we set our bazooka, shut up. We shot a lot of ammo. We had a 4th of July celebration. And next day, the Japanese came after us. They attacked us. They thought that maybe we had run out of ammo or something. But and the leader said, "You see that tree over there? He said, if we can stop them, you run that way. You go that way, you come to the river, and somebody's going to be there waiting for you to take you out." Okay, but just put a grenade on your radio and start running. But the guerrillas stopped the Japanese. They didn't get to the camp. But it's just, I don't know, just some kind of an excitement that you kind of enjoy and kind of don't like,
Yeah.
Feeling danger and excites you. Seeing people, brave people, not caring to go kill or die. But it's just, it's a good experience. Probably now I would probably sell it for $1 million. But before you say, no, I'll never sell this experience for $1 million.
Yeah, it makes you who you are. So, were you guys aware of the atomic bomb being dropped, or had?
Yeah.
So you guys were.
We heard. Yeah, they dropped some kind of a bomb or some. They killed. In our outfit never came out in the news. I don't know why, but when they give us a news movie, something like that, we'd get it maybe once a week. We'd always watch movies from other outfits, but never our outfit came out. I don't know why. 'Cause we wanted to learn, well, where are we at? Where are we fighting at? We're here. Nobody taking picture of us. But I guess they weren't supposed to do that, I guess. I don't know. But that was one question when we got watching movie night. We never could see our outfit, what they were doing, like the other outfits, fighting, and we never could see our outfits.
So, what was the news that you received then about the bomb being dropped? What were you guys told?
Well, we when the bomb was dropped, I got a message and I told the guerrillas there that the big bomb came down, but atomic bomb, it just killed a lot of people, killed the whole Hiroshima or something, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and just destroyed. One bomb destroyed all big cities, Nagasaki. And so, well, they should drop one over here, kill this chap here. No, too big of a bomb, big bomb. But
So were you hopeful at that point that the end was near?
yeah, I was glad. Well, finally get to go home, and see my family.
'Cause you had been away for about 3 years.
3 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 3 years. And, I was came home. My dad had a grocery store, and I couldn't be in a grocery store.
Yeah.
I would see the canned goods on the shelves, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would turn my stomach. I don't know why. I couldn't see any American food, any canned food.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
Now I know that black soldiers were, they faced segregation and discrimination. Being Mexican descent, did you experience any unfair treatment or?
In the army?
Yeah.
Well, the time that I went to gunner school, there was this redneck calling me Indian and pissed me off, so we had a fight.
Yeah.
Kicked me out. No, I had a good time. When I was in the States before going overseas, it was good time.
Mm-hmm.
All the people were happy with the soldiers. No, I didn't see any, not much discrimination in those days.
Good. And can you talk a little bit about? I know you'd started earlier about once you landed on Japan and for the occupation. Can we talk a little bit about your time there and?
Yeah, it was a big sight. There was some looking out the ocean and seeing all the ships out there, and you say, well, that's us, the winners, conquerors,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just the Japanese were friendly there.
The civilians.
The civilians were friendly. We didn't see many Japanese soldiers there. We were just in a big pile of rifles there. We went to one camp, and we seen just a big pile of rifles,
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see no soldiers. We didn't see no Japanese soldiers. I don't know. Maybe they took them to camp or something. And then me and this guy used to hang together a lot. He was bigger than I was. It's me. And we used to. I used to like him because he said, "Well, something happened." Well, he's, good guy to have around.
Mm-hmm.
Fight, defend. Luigi.
Now,
We used to go out. Let's get on a train, and in Japan we'd get on a train and just get out of here. Let's get away from any GIs. So we'd ride the train, and when we would see no GIs, we'd get off the train and just look around the neighborhood. Look around the town.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a knife and a smell for beer. I noticed that. Or we'd go down the streets, and in Japan, there's no windows, no nothing, just walls, you know.
Mm-hmm.
At the door you go in, and so I would tell this guy, wait, wait. He said, what? I think we have some beer here. So I knock on the door, and this guy, first guy, I asked him, do you have any beer here? And then he noticed that I was Mexican. He had spent some time in the Japanese had spent some time in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
So he talked to me in Spanish. Yeah, sí, pasen. You know, he was very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave us beer, and he asked me to sing for him. We got drunk with him, and then he gave us each a quart of beer, Japanese beer.
Mm-hmm.
And me and him would just go look for girls, you know, me and him. We always meet some girls. You know. One time me and him got a fight with one of the girls up on the second floor, and went through the wall of the house. The walls were paper, and came down the porch and down and landed down. So what the hell are we fighting for? So, you know, but he was a good guy, he was a friendly guy.
And how long were you in Japan for?
Yeah, well, Japan must, let's see, it was almost, I was there in the hospital, in the, you know, it must have been 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
about 6 months.
So besides hunting beer and chasing girls, what else were you doing?
Well, I was just visiting. When we were in an island, in Japan, we were in an island, and then my outfit moved to another island in Japan. But I was in a hospital there, and then they asked me, well, we can send you in an ambulance to your outfit, or you want to go by yourself, we'll tell you where it's at. I said, no, I'll go by myself. Just show me the way, and I'll go. And so when I came out of the hospital, I just took the Japanese trains and traveled.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to report. I must have been over AWOL for about a week or so after I left the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I had malaria. And but I would just go and eat wherever there was a chow line, and talk to girls and get friendly with them. Enjoy life.
Yeah.
Enjoy life. And one time they sent me on patrol. And said, go on patrol the streets of Japan. Of this place where we're at, forgot Matsuyama, I think was the town. We were in a jeep. I had about 3 guys on the jeep, and we were going through this area, and I said, stop. I said, what for? I said, I think we got some beer. I don't know how to smell it, you know. And it was just a warehouse. And you can't see inside, nothing. So I knocked on the door and said, American, and we're looking for alcohol. You're not supposed to have alcohol during the occupation, no alcohol for Japan. We want to know where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
So open up warehouse, and there's all kinds of boxes full of beer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I told the owner there, so we have to confiscate the beer. You're not supposed to have beer according to the... I don't know if he understood me or not, but I didn't know any Japanese at all then.
Mm-hmm.
And but he was okay. Besides, I got the gun. You don't have no gun. And so I told the guy, okay, you guys going to have to walk home. I said, good. We're going to load up the jeep with beer. So we loaded up the jeep with beer, and the guys, well, we all clambered on the jeep and we headed for the company. And we had a good night. That drank beer. The company had beer. And next day I was gonna go get some more, and I couldn't find the place. It just disappeared from the map.
I just forgot where it was.
I don't know why, but we went up and down the same streets, and it seemed like they had put a new front on the building, or something, but I couldn't find it. I went, told the lieutenant, said, well, no beers is here. Couldn't find it. Damn it. But there's beer out there. And it was against the law for Japanese to have beer, to have alcohol. And but there was a lot of places would sell it, but they only sell it to GIs. A quarter beer, $1, stuff like that, or 15 yen, $1.
So would people brew it themselves, or would they
Yeah.
make their own beer?
Yeah, they think they brewed it themselves. Because they were good beer. It was good beer. My dad used to make beer, and it almost tasted like my dad's beer. So it was good beer, good home brew.
Now, I understand that you also spent some time in some banks in Japan. Is that true?
Robin Banks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, this crazy captain, this nerdy captain said, well, and so we got an assignment. What is it? Well, we're going to go and rob banks to pay for the occupation. But all we can get is gold, silver, and whatever's worth. No copper coins and stuff like that. Or jewelry. So that day we loaded up on a Jeep and headed for the Japs, for the banks. So we stopped at the bank, and the Nordic chaps, okay, let's all synchronize our watches. Okay, we'll synchronize our watches. And he told our lieutenant, we asked the lieutenant what he was doing, how he's going to do it. How are we going to do it? Well, Lugo's going to go in and jump the corner and head for the outside, and he's going to allow nobody to escape from the bank. And then another soldier coming by, and he's going to, and me and me are going to come by and go in the bank. And then I kept it, well, who's going to collect the money? Who knows gold? Nobody knew what gold was, And I don't know why. I mean, everybody has a gold ring, gold. And but none of in the group, not even the captain or the lieutenant, they wouldn't say they knew what gold was. And I said, I know what gold is. You know what gold is? Yeah, I know what gold is. A ring, gold. Okay, then you count the money. And then you collect the money. The lieutenant said, no, you can't. Lugo can't do it because he's going to be in the backyard, secure in the backyard. And so, well, get somebody else to, we'll get somebody to replace Lugo then. So, okay. So we go to the first bank, and I open the door, jump in, and jump the corner, and told the ladies, there were two ladies and a man, old people, cheering. So I went and calmed down the ladies. No problem. And then I went to the backyard, and I was in the backyard with my carbine. And here comes the lieutenant, the captain, nerdy captain. And he asked me, who are you? What are you doing here? What are you? No, he was excited. The captain was excited. I said, I'm Sergeant Lugo. And so what are you doing here? On guard. I'm guarding the backyard. Nobody can escape. And then the lieutenant comes back. What's happening here? So I see this man here, and I want to know who he is. I said, that's Sergeant Lugo, Captain. Don't do anything, Captain. Don't move. Because if you move, he's going to shoot you. So then he got the captain, went inside the bank, and I went and talked to the ladies. I said, well, American, we have to get money to pay for the occupation, and but I'll give you a receipt, what we take, and so you can get it back in case you get it back. But you needed a report that you were robbed or taken their money. And so I calmed them down, the little ladies, and they have to open up the safe. So we took the silver and the gold coins and some jewelry and put them in the bag. And then the nerdy captain says, we're not going to turn this all in. I look at the lieutenant, your captain. So I said, I'm not gonna turn all this money. I said, we're gonna keep some of it for us. And, you can't do that. In the army, you can't. But I never seen any money back. But he was all excited when I went in the bank, the counter, the back door, the front door, and the little ladies were here, and the safe was here. When it came in, the captain came over, and he jumped over the counter, standing on the counter, and said, "You better not kill me, because if you kill me, there's more soldiers going to come after me, and I kill you." He got excited, the nerdy captain. This is why I call him nerdy, nerdy captain. And the lieutenant just looked at him, well, there's your captain.
So were you guys in uniform while you were doing this?
Yeah, we were in uniform.
But he didn't recognize you even in uniform?
No, he didn't recognize me. And I just been in a jeep, talking. Okay, you count the money. We're talking to him in the same. I was in the same jeep he was. There was another jeep, backup. But he didn't recognize me. Just the way he is, the way he was.
Got all excited.
Got all excited. You better have no booby traps. You better not kill me. You better not lie. He got excited. And then the ladies were scared, were shivering, afraid, God, they're going to kill this American's going to kill us or something. Mm-hmm. But it's just. Well, that captain, he spent all his time in the skyscrapers in New York. He was a commander of the anti-aircraft artillery they had there in the skyscrapers. Mm-hmm. And that's all he did. It was just one party after parties. He just go up and I go get off the elevator, and the guy would grab me and party time. Party after party. He said, "But I'll make it up for you guys. I know you guys went through hell here, but I'll make it up for you." Well, what can he do for us,
Yeah.
Nothing. We were more. The lieutenant was good. He was a good lieutenant. We understood each other. And the captain that was relieved from us, he was a good captain too. But the new captain is just. That's why my write-ups are called nerdy, my nerd captain. Yeah, read this story. You probably enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I have this here.
This one?
Yep.
Yeah, you can have it. Yeah, it's, one of the stories I wrote, but I don't think I can. It's a little risque. Met a Japanese, Filipino girl, and she invited me for some tea, and I went with her to her hut and made some love with her. Well, the captain wasn't there yet. But these guys, poor guys, they're all dead. God damn it. He was a real nice guy.
Did you keep in contact with anybody after you got out? Or?
No, but this was about 4 years ago, I said, I'm going to check him out. This guy lives in Illinois, lived in Illinois, I think he's in Michigan, and he was in Italy. He died in Italy. Mm-hmm. He's Italian, but I don't know. But they were Americans.
Yeah. So when you were leaving, when you left Japan, where did you came back to the U.S.? I'm
I
assuming.
came back to Sacramento, Campbell, got discharged.
You took a ship back to.
Ship back.
How long did that trip take?
It took us about 5 days, 6 days to cross. Took us about 5 days.
What'd you do to pass the time?
Just play poker.
Yeah, you pretty good.
Yeah, play poker. Just whatever we can do on a ship.
Yeah.
One time I was called to go get a black man. They killed somebody else, another black man. He killed him because the other man called him a white nigger. You what? Take a white nigger, and he liked to be called white nigger. They killed him
On the ship.
on the ship. So I had to go grab him and take him to jail.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it was. I said, you know what I'm here for? You're not supposed to kill your buddies.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. So he didn't resist. So I took him in to give him to the Navy guardsmen who were in charge of the jail there in a ship.
So did you get your discharge after you came back, or were
Yeah, I got discharged in the United States. And then I spent a couple of days in L.A. before I got home. I went to visit one of my buddy's girlfriend who got killed over there, and his brother. I stayed with them a couple of days. I didn't want to get home too, just wanted to relax,
Yeah.
something, get it. So then I came home to Arizona, Glendale.
You said you had two brothers that were in the service as well.
Yeah, and my brother, I had a brother in Vietnam, another one, and they were both in Vietnam. No, Korea.
But not World War II.
World War II.
Oh.
World War II.
Where were they stationed in World War II?
They were stationed in up close to North Korea. So I forgot to. There was the South Koreans were fighting the North Koreans, and they were having some trouble over there. My brother got shot. Then I met, and then after where I started working, I met my manager, the manager at the place. He was in Korea too, and I was telling him about my brother being there too. So yeah, that was hell. So we had to eat worms. You had to eat worms because they had no food. In Korea, they didn't have no food. The army didn't have no food. Somehow, I don't know how they got so cheapskate about it. But they had to eat rats, kill rats and to eat. You're crazy. No. Oh, come on, Pete, you didn't eat that. Yeah, I had to eat worms. I ate worms. I ate a lot of shit that I shouldn't eat. But there was no food. I got hungry.
I guess if that's all you got.
Huh?
I guess if that's all you've got.
No, you got to eat,
Yeah.
And my brother said, yeah, there was no food up there. They didn't have no food.
So after the war, when you came back home, you started working again?
Yeah, I started working again. And
Where were you working?
I got a job with Hughes Aircraft Company, technician. And I went to school as a technician there in Hughes. I learned the fire control systems on B-86s, and then on F-100s. And I was like field engineer. And then I couldn't do too much field engineering anymore. My kids started growing up, so married. So went into technical writing. Got into technical writing. I wrote books on army books on electronics, computers, stuff like that. One time I got a job as a technical writing, and I went there, reported. He said, "Well, what am I going to be writing about?" Well, at this point, we can't tell you nothing. It's a secret, top secret. So I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to do something." Well, just do something. I don't know what. The boss said, "Do something, do something." So I started talking around, with the guys, what the company was doing. He said, "Well, are you clear?" "No." I said, "Well, then we can talk to you." So how am I going to do this job? Write about something that I can learn about. So finally, I got enough information that the satellites are here, and the Earth is here, and they shoot a ray and lock onto here. And that was secret, how satellites get the orientation with Earth. They shoot a ray and they lock onto the horizon, and that's how they can tell where they are from Earth. And that's a top secret. Don't tell anybody. But then little by little, I started writing about that, but I just I finally got tired of the job. I couldn't do anything, so I quit him. And then I went looking for a job, and I met this guy, Pete Osterhout, the guy that was in Korea, starving to death. He was a nice guy. He was a good guy, manager. The first week, I went to talk to him. I'm looking for a job. So, we need a writer. He says, "That guy over there," he said, "I don't know what the hell he's doing, but go talk to him. And go talk to him, see what he's doing, and come back, talk to me." So from where I was talking to the other guy, Tom, Pete walked away, and in about a half hour he came back, and I said, "Well, nice talking to you, Tom. I guess I'm going to go home." Okay. So I went to talk to Pete, the boss, and he said, "Well, you talked to that guy over there?" "Yeah." "Can you do his job?" "Of course I can do it." He's not doing anything. He said, "Okay, well, tell you what, I'll send you a telegram." So no sooner did I get home than I got a telegram. Next day I got home and said, "You got a job, report Thursday." They fired the poor guy to give me a job. And then he asked me, "What's your name?" "Well, Bernardo." They call me Barney. "Okay, Barney. Do you know where the bank is at?" "Yeah." "Okay, well, Friday you take me to the bank, and then we go have a liquid sandwich." "Good." "You know where a good bar is?" "Yeah, I know." I didn't know nothing about Southgate, but going there, I knew where a bank was at and stuff like that. So next Friday, I took him to the bank, and after I had a few drinks, and then my supervisor said, "Where were you at? You're late from lunch." Talk to the boss. I was sitting here, and the boss was on the next over there. Said, "Well, what'd you talk about?" "Go talk to the boss."
Talk to the boss.
So he didn't like me. My supervisor didn't like me because I wouldn't talk to him. But I was with the boss.
Yeah.
So, but Peter was a good guy. He just liked to drink. And I don't know, he took a liking to me. He was Pomona. And then our company was going to move to St. Louis. And so Barney said, I want you to go with me to St. Louis, and you and me are going to run the company. I said, well, I don't know. I got to talk to my wife. And so I went home, and my wife said, no way, you ain't going to, we're not going to St. Louis. Where is that?
Where?
So I told Pete, well, Pete, I can't go with you. And he said, dang it. I said, well, tomorrow, no, Monday don't come to work. Go see this guy in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to give you a job. And so Monday, I went to talk to McKnight in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about Pete. That's all we talked about. And it was about 30 minutes, just shooting the rank with this guy and about Pete. Well, you going to ask me for my qualifications about the job. I said, no, you got the job. You got the job. Pete said, you're okay. So then Pete didn't want to go to St. Louis. And then he called me up and asked, see if you can get a job for me. Okay, Pete, I'll do the best for you. So I told McKnight, that Pete was looking for a job. I said, well, tell him to get his butt over here.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Pete, hey, I got a job for you. Okay, thank you, Barney. But we just became good buddies, here in the States.
Yeah.
But he was a nice guy, Pete Osterhout. I don't forget his name. San
Well,
Diego.
in conclusion, there's one thing that I always like to ask, and if there's any advice or words of wisdom you'd have for the current generation, future generations, is there anything you can give, what would that be?
Well, be a survivor. Learn to protect yourself. Learn to fight. Learn to protect yourself. Be a survivor. Live off the land, whatever it takes to survive. I had when I was in basic training, I had a sergeant. He came from I don't know where he come from, but he said, Lugo, so you want to survive? You want to come back home after the war? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to teach you how to survive. So he gave me a lot of good advice to, how to go under fire when we crawl through the fire. And don't look up, don't raise your head, you get killed. And just learn to live off the land. Just learn how to protect yourself. And be aware of everything. Just keep an eye on everything.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out. Just be aware, and you'll survive. And I think he's one of the guys in the Army that gave me good advice, Sergeant.
Great.
But just learn to survive, however. It's a personal thing that one must do.
Great.